Hey everyone, welcome to In Summation for Portal 2. I'm DK,
And I'm Periodic Gamer.
and we're going to give you a quick rundown of Portal 2, just in case you haven't played it and haven't watched our Let's Play of it, but you want to know what the game's about and whether or not it's something you should be interested in. So our Let's Play of Portal 2 was played by Periodic Gamer, so he's going to give you the rundown.
So, Portal 2 is one of the most well known Valve titles. Well, as if any Valve title isn't well known. But Portal 2 was received very well by basically everyone that played it, received very just high reviews across the board, and you're going to hear another one from me, very obviously. Uh, so, Portal 2 takes place an undisclosed amount of time after the events of Portal 1, some long amount of time in the future. And one of the most charming parts of the game is that the early parts of the game, especially, are just old, dilapidated versions of test chambers that you've previously seen before. So it feels exactly the same as the first game, but already there's so much more to it. As you progress through the events of the game, you make a new friend in Wheatley, and he follows you through the course of the game in one way or another. And as the story progresses, you make even more friends and enemies as you learn all of the events of the rise and fall of Aperture, which was something completely unexpected when this game launched. We weren't really expecting a history lesson, but we got one, and in the most glorious of ways, if you're paying attention, you can piece together exactly what happened as Aperture came to power and fell. And it's just so well done, and every part of this game is just glorious, and I can't wait to hear your opinions on it, because I was so excited to play this game when we started this channel.
Now, I went into it completely fresh. I knew basically nothing about it. I knew that you have a portal gun, you shoot, one portal here, another there, and allows you to travel through, stuff like that. Surprisingly, the thing that I loved most about Portal 2 was the characters. Like, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect Portal to have characters, really. But, like, Wheatley, GLaDOS, oh, I loved GLaDOS. The way she delivers these, like, morbid lines, it got me good.
It's done so well in both Portal 2 and Portal 1, and it was so nice that we got more of the same of GLaDOS, and then they just wrote entirely different characters that were just as memorable and just as fun to play with.
Yeah, like Wheatley, because you've got tropes in games. You've got like the idiot character and stuff like that. And Wheatley is like the idiot character, but they write him in such a clever way that it feels very fun and very different. And you're not just like, oh, yeah, of course, this guy, this type of character. So, yeah, like the gameplay looked fun. It looked very engaging, and it looked like, oh yeah, you got to be clever, you got to be creative. They really force you to look around and be creative with your environment, but also just like the people that you get to meet or the intelligences that you get to meet. A great part of the game.
Well, yeah, they're kind of, yeah. Intelligence is a good word.
Yeah, well,
We'll be careful there.
yeah.
But no, I agree. And even talking about the gameplay and the controls and such, the game feels very fluid and very natural. Like it sets up some rules that admittedly it breaks itself at a couple times where it's very necessary, like putting a portal on surfaces that can move only when the game allows you to do it and not allowing it other times. But like the movement in the game, you always go where you're expecting to go, and it always feels right. And it's rare that you have a game like this where not only is the gameplay exactly what you expected it to be and wanted it to be, with more than you wanted it to be, and the story lands that hard too.
Yeah, definitely. Now, since I wasn't directly playing the game, this is a little harder for me to say, but would you say that the game has shortcomings? Any areas where you felt like, this didn't really work? Because from my perspective, just watching it, watching story, characterization, creativity of like the environments and whatnot, I thought that everything pretty much landed. But of course, when you're actually sitting down to play the game, it's a different experience.
I felt that the biggest shortcoming I had was that the end of the game, the build up to is kind of sudden. The build up to the final boss. We'll beep that. So the build up to the final boss is a little bit sudden. So like it introduces the chapter, you start going, and then it seems like you do something really kind of anticlimactic, and then you end up in the boss chamber. And it seems like it could have built a little bit harder, but like that's really the only nitpicky thing I had in the story. And I only even really noticed that after playing it for the third or fourth time.
Yeah. And I will say that it tells you like 3 times in a row, this is the part where you're going to get killed.
Yep, it's you see the message as it loads in for the chapter, tells it to you, Gladys confirms it, and then you pop an achievement.
Yeah, and then like so there is a moment there where you're just kind of thrown back into more of the game. And that was a little anticlimactic for me. So you're talking about like the build up to the final boss, but even once you get to the final boss, there's just a brief moment where it feels like, oh, I've just stepped back into the regular game. How is this any different?
Yeah.
And then it does continue to amp up after that, but there's just a brief moment where it's like you've hit that peak, you're excited, and then you're just like, oh, but
and then you jump
it's
across
just more of the game.
You portal across a pit and walk into a loading screen. Like, oh, cool, way to build climax here.
Yeah. But other than that, it seemed like an incredibly enjoyable game. I certainly had a good time watching it.
See, it's funny. The game is so good that like any argument that I point out, it feels petty. Like this sounds like I'm being hyperbolic or whatever, but this was arguably my favorite game until Breath of the Wild came out, and I really cannot stress enough how perfect every aspect of this game was. My biggest complaint is that there wasn't more of it. Like, okay. I want Portal 3, and I want it to just be like twice the length of Portal 2, and just do it. Just do the same thing, man. You're doing great. Keep it up.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And if you haven't yet, we do recommend that you check out our Let's Play of Portal 2. And if you want to play the game, it gets high recommendations from both me and Periodic Gamer.
Initiating surprise in 3, 2, 1. I made it all up. Surprise.